Let's do that. Okay. Hey, everybody. This is April 8th, and we're just going over page 25 in the course pack. So here we go, and we're talking about the accounting equation. And so if you know assets are 800 and liabilities are 500, then it must be that stockholders' equity is 300. And what I just said was, you don't know how much is in common stock, you don't know how much is in retained earnings, but you know that total is 300. Okay. All right. So looking at the next question, what do you think total assets would be? You know, retained earnings, common stock, and liabilities. What would total assets be? Hi, Brian.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Go
I had
ahead.
a drop off real quick and I had two quick questions.
Sure.
Okay, so first question is, or not really a question, but at the time of the second exam, I'm not gonna be in town for that. I'm gonna be somewhere, so I can take it at an earlier time, right?
Yeah. But you need to fill out that form and tell me when you want to fill it out. Send me an email and I'll send you the availability of the testing center at Bellevue and my availability because I give other classes. And then you pick one of those times and just say that's what I like to take it.
Okay, and I have to do that by Friday?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
just go to getting started and there'll be a download. So just start by sending me an email.
okay.
And
And
tell
then
me what dates, and then I'll come back and I'll say your options are these dates. Will any of these work for you? Okay.
okay,
And then we'll have a conversation. All
okay.
right.
And then second quick question is, do you usually recommend like reading the whole chapter first and then watching videos, or watching the videos and then reading the whole chapter?
Well, it's been my experience that students don't usually read anything, but
Okay.
including my own previous college experience until I got into my master's program and discovered the book was actually quite helpful.
Hmm.
However, I would recommend you page, and you're just doing the online book, or do you have a physical book?
I have the online book.
Okay. So just open up the online book, page through it, kind of take notes of major sections. Give yourself, what, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Look at the examples briefly.
Okay.
And then what students often do at that point is then watch the videos. Okay.
Okay.
Just so you
So,
kind of know what direction I'm going. So
okay, yeah, because to be completely honest, I have procrastinated this amount.
please do.
And I have to I'm I'm heading on a trip tonight for a wedding. I have to go to Vegas, so I'm planning on catching up something or a little bit on the airplane probably. I'm probably gonna like screenshot the textbook or something and try and catch up because I know I'm definitely behind. Uh work's been screwing me over a little bit, but it's also my fault.
It is, but it's really easy to get behind in online. I've been there, and what all I can tell you is the first week you can probably get away with that
Yeah.
if you have time to study, you'll be glad you did. And after the chapter 2, it really kind of ramps up pretty fast. So, because
Okay.
it's like a language class. Oh, I can memorize 10 words in Spanish, and then suddenly you've got 50 words. And
Yeah.
so just give yourself some grace and say, no, I'm going to study an hour a day. That an
Yeah,
hour a day.
I tried to do that to myself, but I just ended up not doing that.
I know that
So,
too. Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I think my plan for right now is I'm probably gonna go through the videos and then touch up on some topics through the textbook. And
Can you
then,
download the video? They're all on YouTube. Can you download the videos?
um, I think so. I think you might need to pay like YouTube Premium or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still have time. I'm leaving in like 4 hours. I'm only
Oh,
there for 2 days,
they're
so I
not
barely
that
need to
long.
pack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not.
yeah. I'll have time to do them right now.
Okay, doke.
So, okay, those are my two quick questions.
Good questions. I'm glad you asked
Yeah,
them.
for sure.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Have a good trip.
Yeah,
See you
thank you.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, Elena, you're back. All right. So what's total assets for number 2?
775,000.
Correct. Yeah. And then you're just using that same logic for number 3, but this is all kind of manipulating the algebra here.
I think my confusion is when it comes to the word problems on the practice homework, because I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't distributing the amounts into the right field.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried, okay, what I don't understand is why do assets equal to liabilities and common stock? Like how, because I've been looking at the balance sheet and I listened to all of your videos 2 times while I was doing the packet. I read the book and it's not clicking for me. How do they balance each other out?
Why do they balance each other out?
Yeah, like how do assets, something that the business has, how does that balance out what the business has liability for?
So let's do a practical example. Let's say you start a business, a boba tea business, okay? And the first thing you do is you want to call it a corporation, separate it from your personal finances,
Mhm,
but you have $100,000 to invest in this business, okay?
mhm.
So first thing you're going to do, let's just do an example. First thing you're going to do is open a bank account in the name of the business, okay? So let's just make ourselves something really simple here.
Oh, are you still recording?
Can you see? Yeah, I'm still recording. Can you see my spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's the accounting equation right there, right? And let's say this is not you, Yelena. This is boba tea shop.
Mhm,
Okay. So you want to invest your own money. You are now a stockholder and for the company. And so you want to invest, let's just make up a number, $100,000. Okay.
mhm,
So from the company's point of view, the account cash just went up.
mhm.
Okay. So that's an asset. So we'd say assets increased $100,000. Okay. But you never just hit one account. Okay. So you've given that company 100,000 of your money, but it wasn't for free. They gave you stock in the company. Okay.
Mhm.
So they now have an owner and they have a common stock account that has $100,000 balance in it. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's your first transaction. You open a business, the business now has 100 in cash. That's
Mhm.
an asset. And then the question is, where did it come from? It either came from a loan, which would be under liability, or it would be under common stock. Two sources of revenue, I'm sorry, two sources of capital, of money
Mhm.
into a company, okay? So now let's say you run out and you buy a boba tea maker thing, you know, that puts the lid on and everything. And let's say it costs $5,000. So here cash went up 100,000 when you invested, but let's say you buy equipment for 5,000.
Mhm.
Equipment is also an asset. So equipment would go up here.
Mhm.
And the question is, how did you pay for the equipment? Well, let's say you haven't paid yet. You owe money on it. And now your liability went up 5,000.
That's your accounts payable
The
under
accounts
liability.
payable, right? So now later, let's say you pay for it and we say, oh, cash went down. That made assets go down, but it also made your debt go away, right?
Mhm.
So everything has to hit two. It doesn't always have to be on the same opposite sides, but the question is, where did it come from? What's the source of this transaction?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I think I just needed a little different wording to get it, but it
Gotcha.
makes sense now where it's coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we look at, so if we go out and look at these statements and we say, let's see, Wiley course. Let's go look at page 15 in the book. Can you see Wiley here?
It's loading, yeah.
Okay. I never know when you students can see or not, so that's why I'm always kind of repeating that question. So we go look at chapter 1 and we say, like that. Okay, too bad. And then here we go, right at the end. It's a little bit small, and I know you have it in front of you, but here we come down to the balance sheet, and we're saying now we have 15,200 in cash. Now we have money owed to us 200 and so forth. Now we have 21,910 in assets. But where did it come from? Well, 9,550 is liabilities and 12,360 is stockholders' equity. Okay. So it's like another way to look at it is assets are a company's resources. And liabilities and stockholders' equity are the source of the resources. How do we get them? We borrowed money or we persuaded people to become stockholders, and that was our source. And then, or we generated profit ourselves, 2,360.
So the retained earnings, so I'm understanding that term correctly. That's when a business makes money and they reinvest it back into the business instead of paying out the dividends.
Correct.
Okay.
And retained earnings for now, I mean, sometimes it just feels like a kind of a weird concept, but it's become, it's the bridge between income statement and balance sheet. You can't do the balance sheet without the retained earnings being updated to show. And you can see here, the first year a company's in business, beginning balance is going to be 0 because they've never had an income statement before. Here's their net income minus their dividends equals the revised ending balance. Now, next year, or next month, I guess, in November, the beginning balance will now be 2,360. Because you're updating retained earnings every time after each month. And then the income statement, pretty simple income statement here. We'll get into the classified balance sheet in chapter 2. So the classified balance sheet will have more subcategories here. So, but for right now, that's pretty simple statements just to get you guys into learning all these terms and understanding what they mean.
I'm somewhat familiar with this because I was helping run a business before, and I've always wanted to learn this. So I've seen all of these statements. I really enjoy learning this because now it's making sense, but also it's a lot of new wording.
It is a lot of language. You're learning a language. I mean, it really feels funny, but oh, sorry. It's I was saying, it starts out, oh, I learned 5 words. Now I learned 10, 20, 30, and you're being expected to use them. And it just gets more and more tricky, he just, so.
I'm still, there's a lot of practice questions, and I'm still not understanding the difference between the creditor and accounts payable.
Which questions are you looking at?
This was one of the homework questions, and it was just like a definition question, but I don't know how to put it in my brain that so accounts payable is obligations to suppliers of goods, and then the creditor is a party to whom a business owes money. And to me, that just sounds the same.
So accounts payable is just it's like your balance. How much do we owe all our creditors? And the creditors are who we owe the money to.
Oh.
So the creditors are a who, and the accounts payable is a what. And how much.
So accounts payable is like the big category, and then the creditors are the subcategories, if you
Right. Yeah. A lot of times instead of saying creditors, we might be more specific and say suppliers or vendors. But that wouldn't cover all the creditors, because other creditors could be employees, right? If you've worked and you haven't been paid, or could also be a bank if you borrowed money. So creditors is kind of the big category of people who we owe money to, who the
Mhm.
company owes money to. So just real quick, notes payable might be a bank. Accounts payable would be your vendors. Salary and wages payable would be your employees. Interest payable would be maybe a bank again. And then unearned service revenue is kind of an unusual one, and that means a customer has prepaid for something. So
Oh.
cash has gone up, but why is this a liability? Because now we owe, in this case, we owe the customer, I think Sierra Corporation does tours. We owe them a future tour.
Okay, I was
So-
wondering what that
So
meant.
like if you buy a ticket on an airline, hopefully not row 26, you will pay Alaska Airlines ahead of time.
Mhm.
And then when you travel, that's them delivering that service to you. But between the time you pay and the time you fly, they owe you that trip. So that's what unearned service revenue is.
Okay. That's really starting to settle in. For the quiz, are we expected to know all of the terminology and, for example, create an income statement with the correct categories, the retained earnings statement, the balance sheet?
Let's take a look here. The quizzes are typically,
Or some of it's like pre-populated?
the quizzes are more, let's see, how do I? I'm going to take a quick look here. I went through the quizzes and kind of streamlined them. They tend to be more theory. So what I say is go over your vocabulary words and maybe the short questions in your book at the end of the chapter. I don't assign the short questions on homework. So. And
They
go
have
ahead.
answers, the short questions.
The short questions, I don't think they do. They're just kind of pulled out of your definitions in the book, but let's check. The multiple choice do. I don't know if you found those, but
I did.
the multiple choice, practice multiple choice and glossary on page 22 and 23 under glossary review and practice multiple choice questions. Those are kind of helpful. So I would study those and just try to synchronize the quiz as much as I can to my PowerPoints. So there's nothing really weird there. There aren't any statements on the quiz, but you might need to understand that accounting equation. You will need to understand that accounting equation. How do things work? So
And on the schedule, it says that the quiz is open tomorrow until Tuesday until Wednesday. Is that right? So
right.
you have 2 days to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you have 2 chances and it'll keep your higher score. So that's kind of nice.
And so if I remember correctly, the homework is always due right before the quiz.
That's the plan, is always to have the homework before the quiz. So like the first quiz here is not until, let's see, it's homework is due tonight. No, tomorrow night. And quiz the next day. And then next week, chapter 2 homework due Tuesday, quiz the next day. And then we have a little break in chapter 3 because I want you to do Monopoly before you do the homework, because it's helpful. That's when we get into journal entries. And then, so that quiz and homework are due later in the week. So.
I have a question about entries. For example, it's asking us, even through the packet, there's a lot of, make an income balance statement. Is there, I've noticed you're using Excel, and that's probably what we're going to be using a lot, like what is it, like a template that we use, or do we need to create one of our own where it will automatically like do the addition for us and we're just putting in the numbers?
You, the only template I give you in the book is in the course pack where it has the little statements. And it's on page 24. Let me share my screen with you.
It's just a little time consuming to always rewrite
It
all of
is for
stories.
sure.
So I'm like, is there a template? Just so I'm still doing the same thing.
So for chapter 1, this template works really well. For chapter 2, the balance sheet changes and we add a bunch more subtotals. We call them classifications, current assets, long-term investments, property, plant, and equipment. And I don't think I offer you, I mean, this is as much as you're going to get in terms of layout. Let's see. And then here I put in a sample one that you can follow current. So you can use a sample while you are learning that students find helpful. But then on the exam, it's just a blank page. So okay. And then the template just has more lines, but you need to put in all the categories. Okay. Yeah. All right. These are good questions, Yelena.
I just want to learn how to do the statements on Excel.
Uh-huh.
That way I think it's just make it easier to learn and to retain that information.
But you know Excel or?
I don't. That's
Oh, okay.
is there like a template, or is there a YouTube video that I can find where I can set it up where it's doing the formulas and everything are in there?
Let's see. Let's take a look here. Let's stop sharing. And let's go back. Let's go look. There is on the Wiley page, if you go to this page, I'm
Mhm.
assuming you see the same thing I see. So tell me if you don't. But sometimes they'll do some Excel stuff. So here's Excel templates here.
Okay.
Excel, and I don't use them, but I mean, there's a lot here that you can. So let's take a look at what this template looks like.
See how I can.
Oh, that's chapter 9. You don't want chapter 9. Oh no, it's 9th edition, so that's okay. All right, enable editing. All right. So here's exercise 1-19 for practice. And it's saying put a number in here.
Oh, I wonder if I can access that.
You should be able to. Go ahead and try.
How do I minimize the Zoom call?
Good luck. Okay, let's see. Stop sharing.
Okay. Let me go in the one course. Is it what page was it on? Do it exercises.
Sure. Go ahead and share your screen with me.
Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Video. Let's see, share screen. Share. Okay. So this is the book.
So go back. Go and see the tab at the top that says Wiley course resources. All the way at the top. Tabs are on the top. Wiley course, unit 1, Wiley. Not there. All the way at the top of your screen.
This part?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, It's a different. Mhm.
click on chapter 1, scroll down, and go Excel template. And then it'll download it, and then you'll need to open it.
It's blank.
Let's see, go to your downloads, see if it's there. You know how to check, are you on a Mac?
No,
Oh, you got it,
I
perfect.
got it. Yeah.
Did it just load?
Yes, it took a minute, but it did.
Great, 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 okay.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, good.
Now, I don't know if it'll make a statement for you on this one, but there's other Excels. This one seems more like an exercise, identify assets, identify this and so forth.
Mhm.
Click on the working papers one, see what that does.
Excel templates, working papers. What's that? Sections 141, 142.
I think this is more like your templates, but it doesn't have the formulas inside them. And you can see at the bottom of your screen, see those tabs at the very bottom, brief exercise. You can click on those. Those are different pages in your work papers.
Mhm.
And then you can click on the right arrow and see more pages. If you make this bigger, you can see more tabs.
I don't know if my computer is glitching out, but it's not.
Okay. Well, you can play with this and see what you think. I mean, in the old days, we'd assign a workbook that said working papers, and you guys could hand fill them in. And now they've moved that onto Excel. And most students don't use it just because there's only so much time. But if you really want to dig in, they're there, and they're kind of nice.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. There we go. Bounce back.
Awesome.
Okay, that really helped me understand. Thank you so
I'm
much.
so glad. That's
Thank
great.
you.
You're asking really great questions. And I like how you're thinking. I can figure out, when you use your words and tell me what you're thinking, I'm like, oh, I can see why you say that, but it's not right. So,
Yeah, I'm really excited about this class because I've always wanted to learn how to do this, and I'm finally coming around to this class. So
excellent.
I want to
Yeah.
do well.
All right. You take care. We'll see you
Thank you.
later.
I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'm gonna pause.